Hi, my name is Deb and this is my furry sidekick Kylie, and we're here today to film my very first TBR for 2025. We are starting off 2025 with a clean slate. I actually managed to finish my entire Promptball TBR for December very early on in the month. It really helped that I picked all the books and included almost all of them in a single vlog. But even though the Promptball did give me a lot of doubles and therefore a lot of extra pulls, I accomplished it. So we are starting off clean. I have so much that I am excited to get to in the new year, and my brain keeps wanting to say get to all of it in January. I don't need to get to all of it in January, but we'll see what we can do. I have done a full refresh on the Promptball machine. I've taken all the prompts out, put them all back in. I've printed them on hopefully more readable paper in larger fonts, so hopefully I don't struggle to read them, because there were some that I was struggling to read even without having to try to worry about focusing the camera. So with my Promptball machine, it is full of reading prompts, and the only kind of twist to it really is that there are 5 different colors in here. I'm going to start with 5 Promptball balls and prompts, but any duplicate colors that I get with my prompt balls will result in an extra prompt ball. I've also added a few new prompts in there, some of which will say to pull an extra prompt. Some will tell me I need to pull 2 prompts and I can either combine them or read 2 books. Some of the prompts that I'm using from various challenges do have a requirement for 2 books. So I could wind up with a little bit more than I'm anticipating on my prompt ball stack, but we'll see. There are so many books I want to get to in January, so let's see what prompt ball gives us, and then I'll talk about what else is on my list. Okay, we'll see if Kylie hangs around, but let's grab our quarters. Okay, I have my 5 quarters to start us off. Let's see what we get. A green ball. We have a Pop Sugar prompt, a book under 250 pages. So prompt ball starting off with a nice easy read for me. For the Pop Sugar prompt to read a book under 250 pages, I have one that I'm very excited for, and that's Rest Stop by Cassidy. And this is an author I've read his full-length novels and absolutely love them. So when he had something new coming out, I pre-ordered it and have been really eager to get to it. So I guess I will wait and read it in January. This is a novella. It's set at a rest stop. From what I understand, it gets wild, it gets crazy, it gets slashery. It's an isolated setting, I believe. All of these things are things that definitely draw my attention and make me want to pick this up. A red ball. Well, this is one of the ones I told you about. Pick 2 and either combine the prompts or read 2 books. So let's do those 2. Not sure if these should count in my color duplicates, but because it's a new game, a new year, a new month, I kind of feel like I'm going to include these and I might regret it. So we have 1 blue, 1 purple. And the first one is for Around the Year in 52 books. And this is for a book whose author's name includes one of the 4 least used letters in the alphabet, J, Q, Z, or X. It can be anywhere in their name, so I feel like that's doable. And the second prompt is for the 52 Book Club, a book that starts with N. So I feel like those 2 prompts could be easily combined. We will see. And then I got one of the new prompts I created, which is to pull 2 prompts and either combine them or read 2 books instead of 1. So for that, the 2 prompts I got were for the 52 Book Club, a book starting with N, and for Around the Year 52 book, a book whose author's name includes one of the 4 least used letters in the alphabet, which are J, Q, Z, and X. And I thought this would be easier than it was. I almost gave up, and then I realized I somehow completely missed a book on my TBR and found I have exactly one that will work for this prompt. So the book that I'm adding is Not Here to Be Liked by Michelle Kwok, and this is definitely outside of my comfort zone, but I actually met the author when I was out with some book friends at the Rip Bodice in Los Angeles, and she was there and she actually signed the book for me as I purchased it, which is definitely a fun thing. So I have a personalized copy, and she was just so nice to meet and to talk to about books. So I am really excited to finally be able to pick this one up. It's been on my shelf for a little while, but it starts with an N and she has a Q in her last name. So we have a winner. Okay, on to our third one. Yellow. We now have one of each of the colors. And this one is for the 52 Book Club. And this is for a cover without people on it, which I feel like should be not that hard. And for the 52 Book Club prompt to read a book without people on the cover, I'm going to help myself out with a couple of my reading challenges for 2025 and put Neverest on here. This is by T.L. Boudin. It is a Twisted Retreat special edition. If you can see the sprayed edge on there. And I think I need the extra push to pick this one up purely because it is going to be entirely a physical read. There isn't an audio book for this one. It is short, so I don't think it'll be a problem to get to it, but I tend to procrastinate my eyeball only reading books, so this is one I definitely want to get to sooner rather than later. Number 4, we got yellow, so our first double, and this one is for the 52 Book Club as well. And it's for a book with a character's name in the title. For 52 Book Club, character's name in the title, this is one that I have an audio arc from Simon Audio, and that's More or Less Maddie by Lisa Genova. This is an author that I've really enjoyed before. I read Still Alice, which was a book about Alzheimer's, and it touched my heart. It was an emotional read, having had a grandfather with Alzheimer's. This one is about mental health, about a character, Maddie, with bipolar disorder, and I'm really looking forward to finding out what she does with this one. This one is an advanced copy that I have, so it's coming out on January 14th, so it is one that I want to prioritize at the very beginning of the month. And the last of our original prompts is green, so our second double. And this one is to read an Illumicrate book. And then one of my standard prompts that I always have in the Promptball machine is an Illumicrate book because I need to get to my book box books. And for this one, I'm going to help myself out with my 25 and 25 and get this one already on there, which is The Last Hour Between Worlds by Melissa Caruso. This is a sapphic romance. There's a mystery element. There's some sort of reality bending, I think, going on in here. And I think it's going to be a really good time. It sounds like it has some definite buzzwords that get my attention, and it is an Illumicrate book that just recently came in, so I'm happy to get one read relatively quickly. Okay, so we had 2 doubles, and as a reminder, these last 2 balls don't increase the doubles number or else we'd be here all day. So another one is another one for the 52 Book Club, and this is to read a book with a hybrid genre, something I do tend to really enjoy. For the 52 Book Club prompt to read a hybrid genre, I am going to be picking up City of Gods and Monsters. This is by Kayla Edwards, and this one is described as being an urban fantasy romance, so there's a genre blend in there, and it is a buddy read that is happening with Mel at Eleanor Reads and Cassidy at Covers with Cassidy and their Patreons, and it is compared to Crescent City, which I really enjoyed, so I am hopeful for this one. It is chunky though. It's like 750 pages according to Goodreads, so I'm a little intimidated, but there is an audiobook if I need it. It is on KU, so it is readily accessible, and I definitely want to make sure I'm using my KU throughout the year as well. And the last prompt is for Around the Year in 52 Books. This one is for a character dealing with death, and that could have a lot of different interpretations and options. For the Around the Year in 52 Books prompt to read a book with a character dealing with death, I am going to go with What Does It Feel Like by Sophie Kinsella, and I'm not 100% positive if we're fully dealing with death in here, but I kind of think so. I think this is one that's going to to make me cry. This is one that's going to hurt a little bit. This is following a character who wakes up in the hospital. She's had a malignant tumor removed from her brain, and it's one that she's having to try to relearn how to live, how to walk, how to talk, and deal with the diagnosis, deal with telling people. And I definitely think this is a book that fits the spirit of the prompt, and it is based on the author's own experiences dealing with a rough diagnosis, from what I understand, and I think it's going to be an emotional and powerful read. So this is what my Promptball TBR is looking like for January, which is not bad and definitely doable, and I'm truly excited for all of these books. But of course, there's always more. Let's start by talking about buddy reads. So, very excited to be picking up Malice by John Gwynne. This is the first book in the Faithful and the Fallen series, and the first book for the new iteration of the Catch-Up Book Club hosted by Becca at Becca in the Books, where over the next year and just a tad more than a year, we're going to be reading all 7 of the books that are set in the Banished Lands. This is 4 books, and then there is another trilogy that comes after this that, as I understand it, is not really connected. It comes quite a bit later, but is still set in the same world. In this series, we are following, to begin with, a young boy named Corbin, and he watches people training to be warriors, to go to war, and he's kind of jealous of that, and then he winds up kind of in the center of things. So this is a book that I really loved the first time I read it, and I'm so excited to be a co-host for this read along and to get to pick up this series, talk about it with a fantastic group of people. I will of course have this whole read along announcement linked down below. And then another one for which I am a co-host is the Classics Buddy Read over on Bookstagram, and our January pick is Lady Audley's Secret by Mary Elizabeth Braddon, and this is a classic mystery. I don't know much about it going into it. It was recommended by one of our participants. It sounds like we have an impoverished governess who marries a wealthy widower, and then when his nephew goes missing, someone starts looking into things and starts to believe she's maybe not as innocent as she seems. This is a monthly buddy read that we do on Bookstagram. It's just a very low-key, casual chat each month. We have the full schedule for 2025 already created, so you can check that out over on my Bookstagram. I am also really hoping in January to get to Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. This will wind up being a buddy read. I know both Mel at Melanor Reads and Cassidy at Covers with Cassidy have said they're pretty much planning to binge it right away, along with quite a few other people. Pretty much them and their Patreon and whole group of people have been buddy reading this entire series, so I want to keep up and be part of the hype for that one as well. And that one comes out on January 21st. I have 2 Berkeley arcs that I am reading along with a group who received the same arcs, and those are Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. That comes out on January 14th, and I am super excited. Grady Hendrix is an auto-read author for me. In this one, we are at a historical setting with unwed mothers, a home for them where they really have no control over their lives until someone introduces them to a book of occult, and suddenly they have power. And then the second one is Mask of the Dear Women, and this is by Lori L. Dove. This one comes out on the 21st of January, and this sounds like it's a mystery. It's looking at the disappearances of young Indigenous women and the fact that they also go missing in the news. And then while we're talking about arcs, I do have one more that I'd like to get in during January. This is a January 28th release, and it's The Weekend Guest by Liza North. I have a gifted copy from Harper. We have 5 old friends who are reuniting, and it says it is a reunion to die for. From what I gather with the synopsis, these are old college friends. They're reuniting, but they're being brought back for a reason they don't realize, and that has to do with someone going to uncover some sort of crime they committed way back when. And then in other reading challenges, I am planning to participate this year in the Buzzword Challenge, which provides a monthly prompt. Actually, there's 2 this year, one for titles and one for covers, and I'm hoping to be able to complete both of them this year. So for the first title prompt, the prompt is Truth or Lies, and for that one, I'm going to pick up Let Me Lie by Claire McIntosh, and this is one that I've had on my shelf for quite a while. The Goodreads reviews for this are actually pretty good, so I've been wanting to get to it. so this gives me the perfect excuse. In this one, we're following Anna. A year ago, her parents died. Police said it was suicide. She claims it's murder, and according to the blurb, it says they're both wrong. So I'm very curious as to what's going on in this one. And then the cover prompt is for patterns, and for that one, I am going to pick up The Battle Drum by Sarah El Rafi, and that is because there is very much a pattern going on behind our character here. And this is book 2 in the Ending Fire trilogy, and it is on my priority list of series that I want to definitely hit in the next year. And it's not a small one, so I kind of have been putting it off a little bit. But I'm very excited to get to this one. If I could possibly get to this one and book 3 and finish off the trilogy in January, that's my stretch goal. But at least I'm going to get to book 2. Okay, last but certainly not least, I do have readathon plans for January, and those are participate in 2 in particular so far. First up, Winterween is happening January 10th through the 16th, and this is hosted by Gabby Reads. I'm not going to give you my TBR quite yet for that because it's not 100% set in stone, but I do have some ideas in mind, and my Summerween TBR wound up being hugely successful, so I'm really hoping that Winterween will follow suit, and I will be bringing you a reading vlog for that week, hitting the books on the TBR. And then the second readathon I am doing is one for the entire month of January, and that is TBRathon brought to us by Leandra at the TBR 0. And for that one, I'm going to be playing her Paws Bookshelves game. And this is all about dogs. I mean, look how adorable this is. So I couldn't not participate, like, clearly. So I'm going to go ahead and show you my first 2 rolls for this, and then I'm going to be rolling as I go throughout the month as I finish books and then move on. This one, there are some tricks to it because you can go up the ladders. You can also fall down when the books tumble. Because our TBRs are huge, you can really go back pretty far in the game. So the idea will be figuring out if I can make it through the entire map by the end of the month. I'm going to be using a 6-sided dice, and here's my first roll. I have my puppy mug and my Paws and Bookshelves TBRathon game. So let's find out the first roll. Got a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. A winter setting, and then we get to go up the stairs. So as you can see, I rolled a 4, and that had me going to winter setting, which also lets me go up the ladder and bypass a bunch of the prompts. But if I want to collect all of the dogs along the path, which of course I do because this is a crow dog household, we also need to hit the under 300 page prompt in order to pick up the cute little puppy in the corner there. So my first book for TBRathon, which is to read a winter setting with under 300 pages, I'm going to be picking up Hampton Heights. This is a gifted copy that I received from Harper Perennial, and this cover has been calling to me. It's very intriguing. And the synopsis says it's a cold winter's evening in 1987. 6 middle school paper boys wander an unfamiliar Milwaukee neighborhood selling newspaper subscriptions. And it says, but the freaks come out at night in Hampton Heights. So the subtitle on this one says, one harrowing night in the most haunted neighborhood in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's blurbed by Paul Tremblay. It's one I've really been wanting to get to. I don't think I mentioned the author, but the author is Dan Coyce. But it's also very short, so it definitely hits the under 300 page mark. And for roll number 2, another 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. A recent buy or borrow. And then for my second roll, I rolled another 4, which had me moving to a recent buy or borrow. But again, if I want to hit the dog, that sounds wrong. If I want to pick up the dog along the way, I need a genre blend. And for this one, I'm going to do myself a favor, and I'm going to use City of Gods and Monsters by Kayla Edwards for this one. I already talked to you about this one because it was a buddy read that I'm going to be doing this month. It's also a really big book. book at 760 pages, so I think we can let it count for the game and a buddy read. And it is a genre blend of fantasy and romance, and it is the most recent Kindle Unlimited book that I just checked out, so it absolutely fulfills all the prompts that I need for this one. So those are the first two books that I will be reading for this particular readathon. I do plan to do a vlog tracking all of my rolls and the books that I pick for them and my reading, and you can come along, see if I hit any of the really scary spaces where you have to go back a bunch of steps. I feel like I'm making good progress with these first two rolls and getting a ladder to kind of skip a little section of the board, so there's a good chance something will go wrong along the way. Both of these readathons will be linked down below. I'm looking forward to participating in both of them, and really everything on my TBR for the month is something I'm super excited to get to. This is what some of my TBR for the month is looking like now, plus some books that are audiobooks and digital, plus some vlog plans, plus Winterween, plus probably a lot more that I'm forgetting. So hopefully life will calm down a little bit in January and give me some time to just sit on the couch, hang out with Kylie, do some reading, and we'll see how that goes. We're starting off with an ambitious but an exciting TBR, so hopefully this starts the new year off on the right path. I'm gonna put these down. I put them gently down. I didn't drop them. No, if you heard a crash, it wasn't me. So let me know in the comments below, what are you most excited to read in January? What are you looking forward to? Are any of these books on your TBR? Are there any here you're excited to hear a review on? Let me know all the things. And if you've made it this far and you don't have anything to comment, give me a dog emoji for the TBRathon board game that I'm going to be playing. And of course, for Kylie, who's staring at me from behind the camera at the moment. If you could hit that like button below, I would surely appreciate it, and subscribe if you're interested in my readathon vlogs, my thoughts on these books, and my bookish content in general. I really appreciate you being here and for all of your support, and I look forward to spending more time with you in 2025. But for now, I will go ahead and leave you here in 2024 and see you real soon in a new video.